Hey guys, this might be a bit of a different video than what you're used to from me, because this is the first scripted video I've worked on, and this research and revision took me forever, so like and subscribe if you'd like to see some more. Anyways, don't forget this is all my opinion on what made Nintendo's modern era so bland. Anyway, if I start covering this from the very beginning all the way back to the NES, we'd waste so much time, so let's jump in with the golden era. The Wii started development as the Revolution in 2003, and this year was mostly used to work on its design and game hardware, such as its GameCube compatibility. But by November 19th of 2006, only 3 years later, it was ready for public release. And this console is what gave us the Virtual Console, which let you play games from older systems all the way back from the N64 to the NES, and this appealed to its older fans who grew up with these consoles, and some of the younger fans who just wanted to try out those games. Now, of course, this console had its own games, and they were amazing, by the way. Let's jump in with Wii Sports, which appealed to older audiences and younger audiences yet again, except for this time it featured bowling and boxing. My personal favorites, by the way. All available from your living room. This console also saw the release of Mario Kart Wii. Why do I bring this up? Because it is still one of the most influential Mario Kart games of all time, with people still working on beating its world records to this day. But this isn't where the era ends though, because as this chapter says, we still need to talk about the DS. The DS, or more specifically, the DS Lite, was released in the States on June 11th of 2006, and I personally still love it as a handheld because of its clamshell design. But obviously this really isn't everything. So let's look at its games, starting with New Super Mario Bros. I could not talk about this console without mentioning this specific game. It released on November 28th of 2008 and featured mini-games, multiplayer, and the standard 8 worlds, with 2 of them being locked behind the mini mushroom. You had to beat the boss using it. Anyway, another game I want to talk about is Pokemon Black. The best Pokemon game of all time, by the way. This game was the first in Pokemon to have 2D sprites with limbs that moved independently from each other. And the sprites were f***ing gorgeous, dude. Take a look at the main character from Pokemon Black as opposed to the main character from Pokemon Pearl. You can clearly see the distance between the Pokemon Black trainer's arms and torso. And the difference in sprite work is insane, considering that they're for the same console. Anyway, enough with this golden era. Let's go into Nintendo's dark era. For the dark era, I'm going to be covering the 3DS and Wii U. And I feel like we should do what we did the first time and cover our home console first. So let's start with the Wii U. The Wii U launched over here on November 18th of 2012 to everyone thinking it was just an add-on to the original Wii, because the main thing advertised was just the gamepad, which meant that there were very low sales for this console, but that doesn't mean I can't still talk about all its great games, such as The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which released on March 3rd of 2017. And even though a lot of people think of it as a Switch game, it's really a Wii U game, even if it did get ported way early into its lifespan, like way too early. It's basically just an open world Zelda game that lets you progress at your own pace. And another good game is Splatoon, which came out on May 28th of 2015 and was a multiplayer shooter game, but it let you shoot paint instead of bullets. And honestly, the best part of this game is the fact that it's literally the closest we will ever get to Nintendo making their own Call of Duty. They also knew when to kill it off. But I think this is about the time I move on to the 3DS. The 3DS was released on March 27th of 2011 and was the main moneymaker of this generation, and it definitely shows. It shows way too well. This console has some great releases though, such as Super Mario 3D Land, which was a 3D Mario game, as it says in the title. But the cool part of this game was the way it used the 3DS's stereoscopic 3D, because it used specific camera angles in its levels that made it to where it was easier to find star coins when you could see the depth between the blocks. But another great 3DS game was Animal Crossing New Leaf. I'm actually in the middle of playing this one, obviously, because Animal Crossing doesn't really end. But it's a really relaxing game where you go around as the mayor of the town and just kind of play the game however you want. But I personally like prioritizing the house upgrades. enough with this dark era, though. I think it's time we go to a much, much darker era. This era starts with the Switch, Nintendo's hybrid console, and ends with a sequel to the same console. Oh my god! Anyway, the Switch was released on March 3rd of 2017, and a lot of people were hyped about it, including me, but as of right now, I really wish it was as lively as the consoles from earlier in this video. Sadly though, this modern, sleek design is what corporate Nintendo wants. At least the games are good though. I mean, I personally like Mario Odyssey, mostly because of the hat platforming and the possession part is kind of fun, but not much else. And not that I've played it, but I've heard some really good things about Mario Wonder. With that said, though, the aesthetics look great on it, and the levels do look pretty fun, so I'll probably play it soon. It's also really refreshing to see a 2D Mario game that isn't part of the new Super Mario series, but there really wasn't much, so I think it's about time we already move on to the next console, even if it is pretty much the same console. The Switch 2. Oh man, the Switch 2. Yeah. It was released on June 5th of this year, and as much as I really don't want to judge a console before it could even get onto its own feet so far, this Mario game, Mario Kart World here, who asked for a dolphin or cow to be playable? Like, I'm sorry, but why did we need so many character slots to be filled? Like, we could have just had costumes for characters from previous games, or add characters that people wanted, maybe. And I think that probably would have been enough. But once again, only 3 games have come out on this console, I'm pretty sure, exclusively, as of recording this. It's also already been half a year though, and within that same amount of time, though, we already had Super Paper Mario, The Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess, and Pokemon Battle Revolution. It's really hard to find things to say about this, especially with this and the Wii U being the only 2 consoles on this list that I personally don't own. Also, I just want to point out that for whatever reason, they've basically scrubbed any sort of color and personalization out of this console, and I kind of feel like that's like the opposite of what we should be seeing from Nintendo. With that said, I think it's about time we jump into talking about my personal view on what led to modern Nintendo. So why is it like this? If you ask me, I think it might have to do with Nintendo being scared that the liveliness from their consoles, such as things like the bright colored themes and colors from the consoles themselves, might have brought down sales from people seeing them as too childish. But this really wasn't the case for most, so I think another possible factor could be an overwhelming amount of remakes and direct ports to the Switch, such as their most recent one, Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, which are almost completely unchanged from their debut on the Wii, other than a few levels being added. So what really made modern Nintendo so bad? It was money. Alright, this is the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want some more. Please leave a comment. But keep in mind that these videos take a lot of time and research to make. So with that said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.